Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about getting an engineering job. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, how much time does it take to get a software engineering job even if one has expert level skills but no university degree? It will take as short or long. I, I, I'm not really sure where you're going with this, but based on what I interpret here, when you say expert level skills, are we talking about that you have work experience or not? Because let's put it this way, guys. Having a university degree means fuck all if you have work experience for the average IT company. They don't care at all about university or not university if you have like proven seniority. Like, I mean, if you work for 10 years at various companies or something like that, nobody gives a shit about your university degree. University, I usually say to people that the degrees and the boot camps and all that stuff that you do as a junior in order to get into the industry is basically just a gateway type of thing. It is something that you need to do in order to have someone take a chance on you so that you can get work experience. The work experience is the thing that matters for the vast majority of this industry. It's the gold standard of what's going to get you hired most of the time, apart from, of course, having skills and knowing your stuff and so forth. But it is years of work experience that practically every single recruiter and company looks at when they try to determine what level you are and so forth. So if you were to say to me that when you mean that you have expert level skills that you don't have work experience, then I question you to a point where like then yeah you then I can't tell you, then it doesn't really matter if you're good or bad here. Like, I mean, the thing that's going to happen here is that you're going to get the same review process when it comes to your CV at the very least, depending on how well you structure it and so forth. But on average, you're going to fall in the same bucket as anybody who is a junior level software developer. And in those situations, what I usually tell people is that it can give you a slight leg up if you have a university degree, because there are some companies who have a prejudice against boot camps versus university degrees and things like that, and some have a hard requirement that they only pull in people who have a university degree. It's far from everybody, so you can take a boot camp, you can be self-taught. I've worked with tons of people who are self-taught. It's not a deal breaker whatsoever, but it is something that can be a factor for you. And when it comes to expert skills, what will happen is that you will still have to do the junior thing, like look around for companies who are willing to take on juniors and so forth. And when you do the interview, assuming now that you have a way to showcase those expert skills that you claim to have in a good way, and you have all the other things like culture fit and nice personalities and communication skills and so forth, you're gonna have you're gonna get at the top of the pile. That's what's gonna happen. But more than that, I can't really say, because usually the thing that matters is the other thing, which might be the other reading of this, and that is seniority. If you have expert level skills, in other words, you are a true senior or really well a master of your craft basically, then getting a new job, again, it depends on the region. Based on my region, honestly, if I didn't care whatsoever which company I signed up with or what role, like I just anything, literally anything, I'm desperate for work, whatever comes my way quickest, I think I would have a pretty decent shot of landing a new job within a week or two, tops. Well, not tops, but about there-ish. I think that, and that was last time I had that was 8 years ago. So that's like me working for maybe two, I can't remember now, but like it was when I was a junior. So I imagine that the process will be a little bit faster, or potentially faster, now that I'm older, bolder, and more senior than I was in those days. Or I don't know. Maybe they wanted to hire me because I was young and fresh, and now I'm old and bitter, I suppose. But for most senior level software developers, again, depending on the region, in my part of the world, the demand is pretty high. So the thing that usually takes time is that companies have, not usually just hiring you as an individual. If you have job postings and stuff like that, what they usually do is that they interview a bunch of people and then they pick the ones that they like. And so if you are, applying on the first day that they put out, the job posting, it might take a few weeks. I mean, for the longest wait I've ever had was when I had an interview for the government here in Sweden. And I had already signed and started working when they got back to me. It was months of wait time before they even got to calling me, before they I hadn't even talked to anybody before, and that's when they called, right? So lead times and things like that, they can be significant, and that's why I tell people it's always good for you, even if you have a job right now. Remember that getting another job, if you lose the one you have in IT, can, as I said, if you're really lucky and you just jump into the next, if you're in the right region, it can happen very, very quickly, but in some cases it might take some time. So the job market, at least in my part of the world, wants you, but the process of getting the next sign and the next first day and so forth can be a little bit daunting, because you have these code interviews, and as I said, the companies themselves are in many cases not that great at following up, and there are delays, and now you need this manager's signature, and then the next interview has to happen, and then that budget gets changed over to somebody else, and so forth and so forth. I've been through all of these sort of things, guys. So I like to think that I have a pretty good picture of how messy it can be, and delays do happen quite often depending on the companies and so forth. So getting to a yes and people wanting you and so forth as a expert software developer shouldn't be much of a hassle for you, but getting your first paycheck and actually getting the signature can be a little bit tricky depending on the company that you're dealing with. So what I want you to take away from this is that depending on if you mean that you're a senior level software developer or not, I can say this: if you're a senior level software developer, I don't think there's a single company out there is going to care if you have a university degree or not. I've never heard about it. Maybe there's some companies out there who would care, because I don't know why they would, but sure, they might for certain things. I mean, let's say that you go into something really niched where a university degree in a very specific field would be necessary, I don't know, advanced mathematics or something like that. Can't tell you. But for the average Joe software developer like myself, who just basically builds web stuff, I can't imagine anybody caring about it. And that is mostly because, as I said, guys, the gold standard is work experience. Because if you have done the job, then why would I care how you did in school? You've proven that you know the things that you need to know in order to ship value. This university degrees and so forth it's your entry ticket. It's the thing you hand in to get someone to give you your first job. And when you have had your first job and done a little bit of work and so forth, that's this currency you pay with from then on. The more work experience you have, the better. Always. Work experience trumps your education background practically every single day of the week. There are exceptions, I'm sure. I've never seen them, but I'm sure they are there. And so if you are an expert, or you're really, really good, but you don't have work experience and so forth, then it's basically the same deal for you as it is for anybody with or without a university degree. You have to find some first entry level job somewhere where they're willing to take a risk on you. And the best thing you can do is to try to showcase those expert skills that you have. Showcase that you're active on things like software, like Stack Overflow, or if you have your own projects, or because just saying that you're an expert, it doesn't matter to the average company. What they want to see some type of tangible proof that you are really good at what you do. If you can showcase that in your interviews, then you're going to go on the top of the pile. But remember, if you don't have work experience, you're still gonna most likely have a hard time, swinging that you should have some senior level role or so forth and so forth. I can't tell you more than that, but you don't have to worry so much that your degree is going to matter all that much, because as I said, it's just a way for you to get into the industry, and after that practically everything else is going to be about how good are you and how many years of work do you have on your CV. Have a great day.